Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Luna and Zenzi on Turning Everything to Gold. This segment is going to be on the throat chakra. We're going to talk a little bit about different ways to open the energy, what it means, what color it connects with. So I really want to start here. So working with the throat, which is such a powerful vibrational tool to shift everything in your life, and that also includes really changing the ruminating thoughts to moving into a space of positivity. That the tongue, we have life and death in our tongue. It absolutely is the truth. And what you say really makes a difference in the co-creation of your life experience. So we have thoughts that ruminate all the time, and it starts with a thought, but when you put it into expression and using the voice, that it can change everything and amplifies that energy. It's their highest form of vibrational therapy. So really what you think about is what you can change, what you come into, what you manifest, or in a negative way. If you're in a negative spin, it'll take you into kind of into that direction. And especially if you have fears, like the energy and emotion connected to it, that the fears will kind of manifest what you are not wanting. So really knowing what you want and what you don't want, and focusing really on what you do want for thought and speech. So this is connected really powerful with blue, cobalt blue color, working with stones. I'm going to turn it over to you, Luna, on the stones that really work with opening and working with that throat chakra to empower your voice.
My favorite stone for that, and when I think of the throat chakra, I think of the way that I kind of learned about it was it's the chimney of the heart. So whatever's going,
I love that.
yeah,
I love
right?
that.
Isn't that amazing? I was like, when I heard that, I was like, yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever's going on in the heart, it comes up through the chimney and comes out, like smoke. So for the throat chakra, my favorite, and you gave me my favorite piece of, I never know if I'm saying it right, Larimar. And it's a beautiful,
I love that stone.
Do you remember the heart you gave me? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's on my altar at home. But I love it. It's like this beautiful light aqua color, and Larimar really connects all of the higher chakras. So from the head all the way up to the crown, head, throat, third eye, up to the crown. That's my favorite. I wear it every day. I have some in my bra right now. I'd take it out, but I don't want to be tacky. But it helps speak your truth, and so that's my favorite stone for this chakra. Lapis is also good, but lapis is my favorite for third eye. So I'll talk more about lapis in third eye when we talk about the third eye, and then also celestite. Which is like a beautiful, like light blue. It almost reminds me, the piece that you gave me, like a menthol cough drop. Clears the throat, right? Yeah. That's so how I remembered.
That's so
like
true.
It clears clarity. All of these crystals are, very powerful when it comes to being clear in what you say and how you speak, and bringing your thoughts, your downloads through the throat chakra.
I think having a blocked throat chakra, which can happen from trauma, stress, people not listening to you, having things to say that you've stuffed down, emotions and things like this can create energetic emotional blockages in the throat. I just worked with a client yesterday, and she was there because she's stepping into a new version of herself, and she said, I feel like I'm always someone's doormat, and I'm doing and doing and doing for everyone, but I feel like I want to have this personal sense of power, and it really starts with her voice, how she communicates with herself. So we started off the session, and we're working on and stepping into her place of empowerment, and the time that we're in now is really focusing on your personal power, external world, internal world. What is like, I'm not sure what today's date is, 9/27/25?
The 28th.
Okay, 28, thank you. So it is very, it's very much a time of personal power and people taking back their power, external, internal world. And she said, I just feel like I need to start doing things with me. And I said, it really starts with how you communicate with yourself.
Yes.
And so anyways, we started working on the session. So I'm guided intuitively in what we're working on. And then I'm like, something happened when you're 6. This is the root of this. And immediately she said, I had sexual abuse. I was abused when I was 6. And I said, I need you to
tell.
Yes. And
to keep a secret.
Yes.
And that's, honestly, not to interrupt you.
No, please.
When children are told not to tell, especially in abuse situations, it causes a blockage in the throat chakra that is very hard to shift and manifests for years and years and years. And some never, when you have that underactive throat chakra, is where you're quiet and you don't speak very much, or you lie, which most people wouldn't think, oh, lying is the throat chakra that's underactive. Wouldn't that be overactive? No, it's when you don't speak the truth, when you lie. It's because as a child you were traumatized and you were told, or as an adult, women,
doesn't
men,
have to be. It started there. That was like
it could have
where
started
this
there.
started.
It could have started in your teenage years, 20, whenever, when you're told to not speak the truth.
100%. It was just, I just allow spirit to guide us through it, but that's really not. That wasn't my focus. And then it just came up. I said something came up when you're 6, and then she just said it out loud. And I said, okay, we're going to clear this. So I walked her through how to clear this emotional trauma and pain. And I said, and I tried, it's important that you use your voice. And she was saying it internally. And I said, no, I was telling her, I said, you need to say this out loud. And she kept saying, I release. And then she wouldn't speak. And I said, I want you to say it out loud. And we stood here for a while in this space of circulating, like she would say, I release, and then it would be holding it in. And so I started setting up the intention. It got a little bit more powerful, a little bit more loud. And then finally she was able to say, I release abuse, being molested, all these things we went through, and we supported this energetically. And I felt it almost like being pulled out, like a root of trauma being pulled out. And I said, I could feel it being lifted. And I said, can you feel that? And she said, I feel it. And she was really using her voice because she could, I feel it. And she was just, the tears were coming. And I said, this is the complete, I know you came in for this. I said, but the reason you haven't stood up for yourself and spoken out for you and done things for you, and you feel guilty, this is where this started, this trauma. So we worked on that, but it was connected to the throat. It was absolutely an amazing transformation, but you're so right that blockage can really start because of that trauma, for any trauma.
And it's very interesting that you say that, and that people understand that when you clear something, you can pull it up by the root. Sometimes you have to go back and keep clearing. Healing is, especially when you have a significant trauma like sexual abuse or something like that, it's like an onion, it's in layers. And I have the whole reason why I came to you was another one of your clients. She was like, you have to go meet her. Like, she was amazing. She said my throat chakra was blocked, and she explained, and I had very basic knowledge of the chakras at that point. And I was like, okay, she hit the nail on the head with her. And I was like, okay, yes, I'm gonna go see her. And it's interesting because this happened, we had this conversation in January of 2024 at the beginning, and she was, she had things cleared. And then we're still going through, and I say we because she loves to talk to me. And, because she supports what I do, and she's it's still the same issues that it was, and they go away and then they come back, and then she'll come for a class.
Her stress, her anxiety, whatever she's dealing with emotionally,
and they're not listening to me, and I can't be honest, and I can't speak my truth. And in this society today, we're very we want, especially women, to speak their truth. Speak your truth, speak your truth. and she still can't, women, because it doesn't feel safe, which is always tied back to trauma. So, you know, it's kind of like we were talking earlier. It's like a full circle. Like things aren't linear. It's a circle, and we have to, like the energy circles of the chakras, you know, and then we have to make sure that they're spinning in the right, you know, position. And but you're constantly going to be clearing, and things will come back and clearing again, and eventually, you know, God willing, it goes. And you know, there's something else to work on. You know, there's another thing that happened, and typically, especially with abuse, you know, when you have been abused and been told to keep a secret as a child, people that have nefarious intentions find it easier to abuse other people as you grow, you know, and it's a vicious cycle. So there's a lot more to clear.
And it could be, it might not be sexual abuse and trauma. No. It could be mental abuse, verbal abuse. I mean, so many different ways. Or, you know, I had somebody who said, I have a fear of abandonment because they were younger, they were in school, the parents were on their way to pick them up, a huge accident happened, not with the parents, but the parents never showed.
Yes.
And so everybody left, and they were there by themselves. I don't know how long, you know, but when you're younger, you process things differently.
Yes.
But that trauma of abandonment actually came in from that experience. And sometimes people come in and, I'm having this issue in my relationship. I want to clear this stress and anxiety. But when we get in there and we really start working on the body grid and working on clearing the chakras, if they're really intentionally wanting to heal, we're going to go back oftentimes to where this manifested or started, so we can pull it out. And then it's like a domino effect. All of the energy starts to flow a little bit different. But the throat is such a powerful way to, if fear, stress, anxiety comes in, to use your voice. I release that, I clear that, I renounce that, and then claiming, you know, I am powerful, and after you clear, to enhance the positive energy. But the stones are just such amazing tools to assist with that.
And right on the throat.
Yeah.
You know, when you're laying in meditation, and I mean, we'll talk more about meditation in another podcast because that is so involved. But even if you're just laying quietly with the stones right there on, and another thing with stones and the throat chakra is, like, it manifests itself in other diseases, like in the body. Specifically with the throat, there's hypo and hyperthyroidism. So an underactive throat chakra, a slow metabolism, hypothyroidism. An overactive, and what an overactive throat chakra is people who are very grandiose, and they're speaking about themselves and the things that they're doing, or very loud, and
well, they share everything too in their mind, where sometimes they don't tap into the heart before they share. And
brutally honest people, you know them. The chimney of their heart is not of love and
not everybody. Just because you may be direct too doesn't mean that
it's okay to be direct, 100%. But I find that brutally honest people are typically people that are looking to kind of get that dig in.
It's a little dig.
Yeah, it's not being direct. I can take direct 100%.
You can feel that intention behind to take a dig on you. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but so then, you know, it manifests in other issues within the body. So when you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, your thyroid isn't working. Okay, that's a sign that this energy center is off. We need to look at that. What are we looking at? And like you said, it doesn't have to be sexual abuse. Or in my household growing up, it was, we don't talk about what goes on in this house with anybody. Which was odd, because when my mother took us to family therapy, it was like, well, we don't talk about what goes on in the house. Like, what are we doing here? We're supposed to talk to this person? It was very confusing as a child to not really understand what that was all about. But just things when you're just told to keep quiet. Children should be seen and not heard. You know, sometimes I find with my children, they're honest when they were smaller, they're honest in a sweet way. Like, no, that dress doesn't look really good on you. They're not trying to hurt your feelings.
Right.
But when you have an adult saying, you don't say that, okay, but you asked, you know, so things like that just, you don't even think. You're like, and then you're 40 years down the line and you're like, oh, that really did affect me. Yeah, it's just, it's just interesting how things manifest in adulthood.
And I do want to say, like, back what you were saying about the thyroid, it's not always an emotional or an energy or trauma trigger that can create the disease in the body.
No.
But it is something to also add in. That's why the holistic therapies are so good. The meditation, like, I may have stress. That's so much stress can create stomach issues and gut issues. But that's why we want to bring in the meditation. The energy clearing can heal the trauma and pain from the past. But it's also some of my clients that are regular weekly clients, it's just a reset for the week because we're constantly bombarded with things. And so these are just different tools to be able to look at if you're dealing with something and the doctor's like, yes, this is going on. Well, let me hit it from every side. Body, mind, and spirit side. You know, maybe not just a Western medicine side, but maybe also let me deal with some stress. Let me go back and do some healing and just go down the line of different ways to bring that balance back in.
Yes.
And that's why the tools that we have, like the stones or being able to focus on breath work.
I was just going to say breath
powerful
work.
Confirmation and affirmations and uplifting.
Singing. Oh my gosh, singing. I have to say this. I have to tell you guys this. I work in a restaurant that is all glass, okay? I work in a very large theme park. The restaurant is all glass. In the morning, I go outside. I have a playlist of uplifting songs, and the people are outside working, cleaning up, you know, getting the park ready for the day. And I sing as loud as I can. I do. It makes me feel so good to like get that energy out there. So singing is like really, really, really healing and good for the throat chakra. And I know that people are inside, my coworkers are looking at me, but now it's kind of normal. They're like, what are you listening to today? I'm like, same song. I got to sing it every single day.
I just want to know, just because. Is it what song? Is it an uplifting? It doesn't have to say specific or not, but is it an uplifting tune, or is it something that feels very emotional, or how does it come out?
So I was doing a class, and it's called Creating Your Heart's Desires. And this wonderful, I just have to give her a little plug, this wonderful woman, Sonia Choquette, she's amazing. She developed this class, and she said, go in and make a playlist of uplifting songs. So I was like, okay, I know. Like, and she was like 10 songs. I'm like, okay, I know what 10 songs I want. So the one that I always sing, I actually saw it on Instagram, and it was this mother. I'm getting chills. It was this mother, and she was holding her daughter, and that they were at this Andy Grammer concert, and the mother was holding the daughter up so she could see the stage, and it's called "Don't Give Up on Me." And the verse or the chorus of the song is, I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even when nobody else believes, I'm not going down that easily. And it makes me want to cry because I'm just like, I watch the sunrise. My hawk friend is on the building. Typically he's there for me. And I sing this song as loud as I can to the sunrise, to be honest. And I'm just like,
it's a sacred time.
You know, it makes me so happy. And like people stop and like stare at me, and I'm like, come join me. Another song that I really like is from Wicked, which I had never seen the movie. My best friend introduced me. She's obsessed with it, and it's Defying Gravity. Amazing song. And then what was Stairway to Heaven's on there. Stairway to Heaven's on everywhere.
We're going to talk about that. Are we not going to talk about that?
No, yes. Billy Joel, My Life. Like there's just like certain, there's a Pearl Jam song on there, Corduroy.
They create an emotional, really powerful response in you
and
that can
healing.
And this is healing, happiness, uplifting, and the vibration of what you're setting that energy connected, the emotion connected is so powerful. This is why the voice is so, it can shift you, and it could be heavy, darker energy, or light, happy, vibrational energy.
But
it could
it's
also
moving
take you moving energy through the body.
Yes.
So these are different tools to be able to do that. But I want you, since you said it already, it's turning everything to gold, right? Is and I know we're going to talk about this more, but I just want to bring that in.
Yeah.
And this is something that Luna came up with. This is something that kind of felt in what we are trying to create, what we're going to design and we're going to do. I know we've discussed this before, but tell us a little bit about that song and what that means.
Okay, so I used to be a nighttime server, and I went to days, and typically I'm a night owl. I love to be up at night. I don't even get any real energy to do things until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was very hard for me, but I knew I had to make a change. So I went from nights to mornings, and it was amazing. But I found when I was going into work that I really needed energetically to get myself together. And I found it's a Led Zeppelin song, but Led Zeppelin was honored at the Kennedy Center Honors in like 2015 by Heart. Heart sang their song. And if you have ever heard of Heart, Ann Wilson is an amazing singer. Her sister Nancy is an amazing guitar player. They're amazing women. And they sang, and they actually brought Robert Plant to tears because they had a choir. It was so beautiful. But there in the last verse of the song, it's as we wind on down the road, our shadow's taller than our soul. There walks a lady we all know who shines white light and white light and wants to show how everything turns to gold. And I was like, and if you listen very hard, and I didn't understand what it was saying at first. I was like, I just knew, like, it touched me, and I wanted to sing it like at the top of my lungs, like, and I listened to it on repeat every morning for weeks and months. I still listen to it, not on repeat, but I still listen to it every day. But yeah, it was just like everything, good, bad, everything in this world, the alchemy of changing your circumstance or what's happening to you, or everything can be transmuted into something good. Your hardest experiences, I've never personally had sexual trauma, but I can't imagine turning that into something positive. But a lot of people have done it, and you can, and it's through the power of song, your word, writing. Those types of things can change the alchemy of the trauma and turn it into something that's for not only your highest good, but the collective highest good. So I was like, when we were trying to come up with a name for the podcast, I had all these like generic, like, oh, like, I don't even know where I came up. And you were like, no, it has to have something like gold. I'm feeling gold. And immediately that line came into my head. I was like, that's the line. How do we incorporate this so it's not like a copyright issue? We can't use the song, but like, this is what it means. So that's kind of where it came from.
I love that.
And I went to, right as I started working in the mornings, I took a trip to Yosemite. And I'll never forget, we went to see the sunrise one morning, and it was like, I have the picture, it's like gold, like as the sun comes up, and there's my shadow. And I was like, I have to put this on Instagram with that part of the song. And I think it's still on my personal Instagram page, but it was like, it's just so profound for me. And I was like, who's the lady? Who's the lady we all know? And then I met you, and I'm like, that's the lady we all know. And then I became the lady we all know. And then I met somebody else, and she was the lady we all know. So like, all the ladies we all know, it's not one lady. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's all of us, so yeah. That's where that came from.
I love it because it's really turning everything, all stress, all trauma, all worries, turning everything in your life into gold.
Gold.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Living that powerful life experience in existence. The throat chakra really can transform. I just want to say, as being an intuitive energy practitioner, we have a lot of people have issues in the throat, whether it's for I'm in a relationship and I'm going through this, or I have things at my work where I'd like to say what I need to say but I can't, and it's typically out of fear, stress, worry, anxiety, and it's rooted in, not all the time, but it's rooted in a lot of past experiences or consistent situations that have said, we're not going to listen, or they're not going to listen,
cares.
or you say,
Nobody cares.
Right, and you'll know if someone, it cares about what you say or takes it to heart or listens. And it takes courage, especially in the workspace and a relationship, to say, hey, we need to discuss this.
Yeah.
But working with the people that I've worked with, a lot comes through clearing things of blockages, emotional energy, trauma, stress, and finding yourself and stepping into the power of your own voice makes a massive difference in people's lives. And then really engaging the positive speech for the things that you want in your life, so speaking what you do want, and making sure you release and don't think or even say things that you don't want, really catching yourself speaking powerfully.
When people say something, and I still do it too, and I say it to myself, when people say something negative, I go, okay, that's an inside thought. Like, we don't let those thoughts out. That's an inside thought. We're going to work on our thoughts, because typically the outside, what comes out of our mouth is the product of the thought. And we do need to work on where the thoughts are coming from. But when you speak the thought out, that is even more dangerous, because you're giving life to that thought. You're giving some power to that thought. And that is typically, for me, where it gets very dangerous. I can't. Well,
you also have a very powerful emotion, the emotion tied to it. When you speak it out, that is the really powerful key of turning on the energy of manifesting and turning it on. So I don't want this to happen. I'm worried about this. Or I had somebody who constantly worried about an older dog. Think an older dog getting under the tire. I'm just worried. I'm always looking to make sure that the dog's not there. I don't want to run over the dog. But over and over and over for a year or two, and then what happened?
That was the story.
Exactly what happened.
The
and
story
the fear
I told with
came
Molly.
to this. It was horrific.
She's gonna get hit by a semi. What happened? She got hit by a semi. Was I surprised? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I ever spoke it out. I'm sure I probably mentioned it in passing to my husband, like, oh, what if she ever got hit by a semi?
No,
sure
tell us the story. What do you?
When she got her license,
your daughter.
Yeah. So I think I told this in the solar plexus, but I'm not sure. She got her license. She had a car, but it wasn't so reliable. So I had a Mini Cooper at the time, and she was using that to drive to her soccer practice, which was like 30 miles away, because it was more reliable. I worked closer to the house. Anyways, I just had this thought one day, if this child ever got hit in that car by a semi, what would happen? Wow. And when your first child starts to drive,
I'm sure
it's a lot. Jesus, take the wheel. So anyways, I came home from school. I was teaching at the time, and there was all these missed calls, and I answered the phone, and it was a guy, and he was like, your daughter's been hit by a semi. And I was like, and he stopped, and I was like, please finish your sentence. She's fine. And so I went down to the accident, which was like 3 miles down the road. And indeed, a car had stopped dead. It had a tire blowout, just stopped in the lane. And she was like 6 cars behind, didn't have enough time to get over, or room to get over, because everyone had already moved over. And so she's so cute. She tried to just shimmy her way in between a semi and the car that was just stopped in the lane. And unfortunately, the semi hit her on the side and pushed her into the median, which was, thank God, but totally wrecked her car, or I guess my car. And so that was like probably one of the scariest moments of my life that happened in January 25th of 2021. There's another story. Well, side note, she wasn't even supposed to go to that practice. Her friends were playing in a soccer game and we were supposed to go to the soccer game. And I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe you should just go to practice. And she went to practice, but she wasn't even supposed to go to that game.
Was that a thought that you thought regularly?
Yes, I thought it all.
You did?
I focused because it was 2020, 2021 when she got her license and started driving. It was about 5 months after she got her license that accident happened. And it consumed me because I was kind of on the path that I was going to start taking, but that changed me. That really made me realize, the things you think, the things you say, 100% will be manifested. 100%. And nothing was clearer to me than that moment. And I was like, I have to be much more intentional with the things that I say. Took me a couple more years to get there.
And still, I remember, even now, but like I'll have people around me, they always bring me back.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sometimes it's annoying, but sometimes, are you sure you're aligned with everything you're saying? And then I'm like, am I consciously mindful of what I'm saying? Let me think. Okay, let me shift that just a little bit, to change it just a little bit. It's when you hear it, then it's easier to get back on track. But you've got those people around you that'll help say, hey, you sure that's what you want to keep saying out?
And I also learned actually this past week, one of the exercises in the class that I was taking was cancel. You say something like that, cancel. And it double negative equals a positive. So there we go, cancel. Like I said to my friend who I love, I was like, you're gonna have a heart attack. The way he eats is like horrible. He eats like a bear. And I was like, you're gonna have a heart attack. And I was like, and he was like, man, probably so. I go, you know what, cancel. He was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to manifest that for you. No, absolutely not.
And don't accept what I just said.
Yeah.
I cancel that. I'm not going to accept what you just said.
You also said, maybe so.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, please don't do that.
Don't align to it. But
this bad behavior needs to not be, don't co-sign on this bad behavior.
Well, it's the same thing with health. And I know it can be difficult when we're dealing with pain or discomfort. But to own, I was, again, working with another client who was saying I don't know exactly, it was a while back, but my anxiety. He kept claiming this as his to own.
No,
and I said, you are experiencing something, but it's already on its way out. You get your mind aligned, you're already healed, and you might not believe it yet, but keep saying it. But don't keep holding on to it and claiming that it's yours. And that's with any type of sickness or illness or anything like that. I mean, you just keep saying, or somebody saying, you've got this, and being, oh yeah, no, that's definitely, I would be like, no,
I don't.
And I know that sometimes we experience different things, but your mind is such a powerful tool. And so I'm already healing from this. I'm already healed. I'm already,
and that's what
claiming it with
Healing's
your voice.
On the way. It's
already here. Thank you for the healing already.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Gratitude. Always and everything. All things.
Gratitude is that powerful key that continues the gift flowing. So this has been an amazing session talking about the throat chakra. Connect with us if you have any questions about it. Reach out. We always work and do the intuitive energy sessions for clearing, for balancing the energy. So if you're interested, let's connect.
Yeah.
You guys take care.
Bye.
Bye.